Hi, everybody, and thanks for coming back and joining in, following along to Nellie and Ruth Designs. Today I'm going to continue on the inside cover of my sewing journal for my girlfriend. This is for her birthday in August. And in a previous video, I covered how to create your book cover. This is all dried. I left this overnight, and on this particular one I did use the Aleene's Fabric Fusion. It was a little more wet, a little wetter than your Fabri-Tac, the Beacon Fabri-Tac, but this is good. It's wonderful how it adhered, and I'm really happy with it. So what I'm doing now is I'm making the inside covers, the front and back. I'm designing them and getting them ready to go inside after I put the binding in. And this is going to be a hidden binding. There isn't going to be any sewing through the spine there. So I'm working on that, and I just wanted to go over a couple things with you with this. So this is the one we're gonna work on today. But I want to show you this. This is going to be the back, and it's just a very lightweight piece of cardstock. There really isn't much weight to it. You can see here. And the reason I used a lightweight, usually I use a heavier piece in the back to make it a little sturdier, a little stronger. I want this to be a soft cover, and you will see if you watch the video on this, I cut a nice large piece of felt that's under here, so it gives a little padding. I want it to be a little more soft. And this is actually what I used on the inside of my cover. My mom, God rest her soul, when she passed, she had a ton of craft supplies. She was a big crafter herself. And this is a large roll that I have. And I'm using this on the inside. And the reason I'm using this is because I want to be able to maybe put some pins. I want Lee to be able to, put some decorative pins. She's a big sewer, and she has tons of supplies. So I'm not really buying her any supplies to put in her journal. She can fill it and store a few things as she sees fit. But I thought I might, put one of these. These look like little hat pins. And I'll show you my thought process when we start working on the front inside cover today. But I want to show you this. This is going to look, and I don't know if I'm going to be using this particular embroidery that I did. I've done this one with the ribbon. I've done this here, the tulips. I have the roses. And I know I call it the Lazy Daisy sewing journal. That's the paper pack that's inside. But because of my love of flowers, I'm using all types of flowers throughout. I may cut one of these sweet little flowers and place it down here. But I just have to give this some thought, exactly what I want to do. But I want to show you how I ordered her a really fancy pair of scissors, the European style, and I made this little pouch for the scissors to rest in, or at least when I give it to her. The scissors will be in the back of the book. So it would look something like this. And we'll finish this up. I do want to use one of Mrs. Cog's sayings, so I just have to decide the colors and what I want to do. But I'm very happy with the way this turned out. And I made this out of a, it's not a handkerchief. I don't think this is a handkerchief. I think it's a napkin. And I buy from a gal, Winnie J Vintage on Instagram. And I believe I bought 4 of these from Winnie. And I bought them because I thought I was going to cut them apart and use the lace. But I had this idea of making a holder in the back for the scissors when they come in. And I think it came out, I just hope, I looked online to see the size of the scissors, and they just gave examples of what they would look like next to an iPhone or whatever. There was actually no dimensions. So I'm really hoping that these fit and they're not too small. So, but I want to show you how I folded this to create this little pocket. And while I probably won't be able to do it, replicate it again. But so what I did, and I'll try to do it on this one here just so you can see. So let me see if I can figure this out again. Yeah, and I did not use, you can see this is where I cut it. So I did not use, obviously I started right here. So I had to do a tri-fold, and I wanted to make sure that it was high enough up on here to hold the scissors. I really didn't have a pattern. I just kind of eyeballed everything. So what I did, if you're interested, is I centered the fabric. I'm just going to put this down a little bit. I centered the fabric, and then I brought it in. So this was here on this side. And it looks like I might have, I'm just trying to see my fold here. See if I can replicate this for you. I might have done it this way first. I'm hoping I can replicate it for you. And then this side came in like this. And let's see here. Let's see if I can get it. And then what I did was, this must be over. I really want to show you. So if you want to make one of these. So it looks like, hold on here. Yeah, I must have done it this way. Yeah. So you just kind of do your tri-fold like this. And then you take your corner here, or the top part of this, and then you just bring it, yep, that's what I did. And then you just bring it down to make like a little, I guess like a little cornucopia style. And then what I did was I started on this side and I just stitched around. And then you can see where I stitched. And I did not stitch it on this. I actually took it off, okay? So don't try to stitch it onto this, the cardboard. You can stitch it on the material. So just bear with me. I'm doing this kind of backwards on you. All right, so I stitched it on the material. I originally took my template here, and then I drew a very minimal pencil line around it, okay? Then I worked in between the pencil lines, all right? And then I laid I laid this down and I pinned it. Okay, I got it all pinned. And then I just went over to the machine and I just followed this stitch to here. And then I did a straight stitch right across. And then I did a very small zigzag all the way up across. And then I went right straight across this up here. Okay. And then that, it's all anchored in. And then I did the top stitching right down the side of each side here. And you can measure, if you have your scissors in advance, you can go ahead and measure. You may want to make it a little bit, smaller. You might want to angle it a little bit more. But that's how I did that. I just wanted to share it with you. So it wasn't too hard. It was just just tax the brain a little bit there. So this one here, I'm going to set this aside, but I have an idea for the front cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this and get this, I'm going to get this glued down here. All right. And I'm not using, there are two sides to this. This is the obviously the back side. I want to use the back side. I did not want to use the front. I didn't want it to be that refined. I wanted to have the nap and have it look a little more textured. So, and on this one here, I did use my Fabri-Tac, which seemed to work out really well. So I'm just going to trim this down a little bit. And my desk is a mess. I was so tired from working yesterday that I literally just left my desk the way it was, and I went to bed probably, I think it was 8:30 to read. I was exhausted. All right. And I'm not going to, I have that cut, but I am not going to glue this down yet, because that's not what I want to do. I want to show you what I plan on doing with this before. But I'm wondering if this should be thin enough where I could actually sew through this. I have this material here, and what I want to do is I want to make, and I think I'll be able to sew through this. I don't think that will be any problem at all. So I am going to glue this down. I want to make like a, well, I don't know what you call it, like a tier or a layers on the front that she can attach her clips to. You'll see what I'm talking about. My terminology isn't always the best, so. And I like to just take a tool and just kind of tuck that corner in. As I bring it up, just to make sure that it's in there kind of good. And I think I'm going to need to clip these. I just ordered some sewing clips, so I found them cheaper online than what Hobby Lobby was offering them for. I wanted to get some the other day, but I didn't want to pay the $15 for all they were offering. I didn't need that many. Okay. All right. And let's see here. Grab another clip. There we go. Get that tucked. Get this down. And get that tucked. I'll get that one clipped. All right, so that's done. All right, so this one will go into the front of the book. And I don't like to bring it right to the edge. I like to leave a little bit of the fabric showing. So you're obviously going to have to cut it down to fit your book. All right. Okay, so that's done. So what I'd really like to do on the front here, so she can adhere her clips or pins, whatever she wants to use it for. I have this pretty material here, which reminds me of daisies. And I think I'm first going to I want it the long way. So I'm going to cut this in half here. And I want to leave a little bit of the edge. So I think I will fold it over such as this. Because I'm going to have to take a seam on it, fold it over and all right, so now I have a nice long piece here. So what I'm thinking about doing is I will make a seam on each side, a small seam. Sew that down on each side so it has a nice clean sides. And then I'll fold this over, make a little seam here. And I'm even wondering if maybe I shouldn't just, it would be cute. I don't need to take that much, of course. But the top part, this could be a pocket. And I could just sew down and around, and then she'd have a pocket. We could do a pocket there, but I want to make little, almost like a Roman shade. And then I can sew all of these down. and then she'll be able to tuck. We'll have our seams here, and then she'll be able to, you know, if she wants to put some pins in here, she wants to put her clips, she can store whatever she'd like to store in there. So I'm going to just sew the sides, make the seams. I'm going to pleat this, and then I will probably pleat. I'll get each one pleated on the bottom. We'll see how that goes. And then I'll be back and we'll continue to work on this. So I'm going to step away, do my sewing, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so what I did was I went and I pleated the material. I first pleated it upright, and I thought, okay, well, she can put her pins and whatever, but if she's going to use the clips, I know these are stationary, these are for paper, but you know the type of clips that I'm speaking about. I don't want her to clip it and then have them fall down. So I want this to hang like a Roman shade. So when I actually sew it on, I'm going to flip it like this. So that way, if she wants to pin her clips on here, they will be hanging down and I don't have to worry about these flipping over. I did not sew the edges. Because it's a sewing junk journal, I wanted it to look a little bit rough. So I frayed as much as the sides as I could. And then I spoke about a pocket before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over here. I'm going to get these. I haven't stitched any of this yet, so I'll get all of this straightened out, and then I'm going to flip this over like this, and then I will sew this on such as this, so there'll be a pocket, and then I've found this little on pins and needles, and I can put that little saying there, and then I thought I would add these daisies to each side, these little button daisies. And I also have this is vintage. This was in my mom's sewing basket. I'm going to add this rickrack down the side. And I think that will be cute. I'll put it down the side of each here, and then I can sew on, I'll attach the daisies. So that is my intention, and I'm going to actually go and get this all sewn together now, and then I will be back and we'll take a look at it. Okie dokie, so this is all sewn on, and it really was no issues sewing through. I'm just going to tack this down a little bit because that raw edge right there is showing. I should have sewn it a little bit closer to the edge here. I may leave that. I don't think that's going to matter. And maybe I'll even put a little tiny piece of lace on the bottom or something. We'll see. I don't think that's going to matter though. I just noticed that. But at any rate, it wasn't bad sewing through these layers. I just went slow because the needle did seem to be sinking in. So now she has all these nice little pleats here for the front of the journal. That's what the front will look like. And then she can take her little sewing pins, put them there, or she can take her needles. You know, if there's special needles or whatever she wants to store, she could put those in there like that. I may even put maybe one of these in there. We'll have to see, wait and see. And I'm going to put the pins and needles on here, and then I've been dying to use this. I keep looking at it, and I think I'm going to put this right up here at the top, and then we can put a little card or something. I don't know if I have anything else coming for her, but I do have, maybe I could get her a small ruler. I do have a tape measure coming for her, but my mom has some vintage rulers that she used, and I think maybe I could find a small one, and maybe I could put a nice vintage ruler in there. That would be lovely. So I'm going to finish this up here. I'm going to sew the I am going to sew the daisies on. I will put the daisies at the top. I think that will be cute. And I'm going to put the pins and needles there. So we'll get this jazzed up a bit. This I'm going to glue down, but maybe I'll sew it. Maybe I'll stitch this around there. Now that I know it stitches nicely. And I think I'm going to, on this pins and needles, I'm going to just do this with the corners. All right. And I will glue that on there, I think. I could put a couple little, I don't want to do, two. I was going to say I could do a couple brads, but I don't want to do that. I think I will just put that on. But I think first, and I may just glue this on. I've got enough stitching on it, and I don't want it to be I don't want it to be overkill. But what I'm going to do with this is I guess I'll just put it on like that. I was thinking about putting a little back on it. Just a little, maybe a strip of paper or something. I just don't want the glue to come through on this a lot. So I have to think about that for a minute, but we can get this on in the meantime. Actually, I'm going to sew the buttons on first. That way, nothing will be in my way. I think I'll do this a single thread. I'm not going to double it. Okay, let's see if I can do this while it's already attached. I think I'll be able to. Something I should have done ahead of time, but I didn't. So let's see if it works out. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's really no big deal. So I'll tell you a funny story. Got a little story for you. Last night, like I said, I was pretty tired. After working on this all day. And I just wanted to go to bed. Let's see if I'm going to be able to do this. And I got in bed with my book, and of course I start scrolling through my phone, which I'm supposed to be reading. That's why I went to bed early. And I had mentioned Winnie J Vintage at the beginning of this. That's where I got that really pretty napkin from. So I'm looking at Winnie's site, her Instagram page, for some goodies. I was looking for some lace trim and stuff. See if she had anything else out there. And I'm okay with my phone, but I'm not that great with it. So all of a sudden, I swipe up, and on my Samsung, it shows where you can blacken out the screen. I'm looking for my tweezers here. Actually, I'm going to get these scissors. You can blacken out the screen, and if a message is sent to you, something like it disappears immediately. Well, I didn't want that, so I started to panic because I'm like, oh my gosh, if she sends me a text, is it going to disappear before I even read it? And so I got a little flustered there. And somebody here. I got a little flustered, and then in the whole process of trying to fix that, I sent her a video chat. Oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed. I couldn't believe it. She answered. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, no, I didn't want to talk to her. I felt terrible telling her I didn't want to talk to her, but that wasn't the point. So I explained what had happened and apologized. I felt so stupid. All right, and what I'm going to do, you're going to say, well, she's not knotting that. I'm going to stick a little tiny dab of glue under this afterwards, just to seal it down a little bit. And I don't know why my girls were barking. I am waiting for someone, but they called to say that they wouldn't be here until later this afternoon. So I know they haven't arrived. My husband and son are out of town. By the time you see this, they'll be back home, but they're out of town for the week. My son and daughter-in-law, they leave tomorrow morning. They're going out of town on a little mini vacation. So this gives me a chance to really get caught up, and my goal is to finish most of this journal while everybody's gone. Because my daughter-in-law, my stepdaughter-in-law, well, my grandkids, my step-grandkids, they are coming July 7th, and I'll be taking the week off from all crafting, unless my granddaughter wants to do something. She's 14. She turned 14 on my dad's birthday. And I haven't seen them in 2 years. The last time I saw them, my was when my stepson passed away 2 years ago. And they were coming out for, their summer week with us. But it wasn't a very joyful trip. But I'm glad that they were here for the week, so after his passing. So if they had any questions for their grandfather, he could answer them. But like I said, that was not. And then, last year they were looking forward to coming. And then COVID hit. So my daughter-in-law had to cancel everything. So I have 2 books that I need to make for my, I just refer to her as my daughter-in-law. Her and my stepson were divorced at the time of his passing, but she's still my daughter-in-law. And they're my grandkids, so. But she wants a couple books, and I really want to get them made so she can take them back home to her. So the grandkids arrive on July 7th. She arrives on July 11th. And she's going to see us for 2 days, and then she's going to head south about 30 minutes from here, and she's going to spend the rest of the week with her sister. She has 4 other sisters and her mom, so it'll be good to see them. The grandkids are really excited about coming. Let's see what I do on this side. Yeah, I just kind of brought it up and gave it a little twirl. So I'm trying my best to get this done for my girlfriend. Her birthday is August 2nd. And I just want to get this done so I can get the other things done for my daughter-in-law. One of those books is for her stepdaughter. She graduated this year, and she's off to college. So there's a lot going on. All right, so those are on, and then I will put just a little dab of glue after. Let's get this glued on. We'll glue the roses, and we'll call it a day. But I think this, the cover, the book cover and everything, I think it's coming together quite nicely. I don't want to rush it. Plus my mother is she's sitting on my shoulder watching everything that I do, making sure that it's done properly. She was a stickler on that. When she was teaching me to sew, she would literally stand over I'm going to put this in here, stand over my shoulder and watch and teach me. And if I didn't have something done just so, I had to rip it out and do it all over again. God bless her. She was a good teacher. I'm just wondering if that's a little too, but I kind of like, I'm wondering if I should just cut this side down a little bit. Maybe I will. And then I will have to boy, I hate to do that because it's so close. And I'll just refringe it. It's a I wouldn't say it's a beautiful day here. I don't know what your weather is. We've had lots of rain and thunderstorms. It's cooled down to the high 60s. And now we're all fighting. I took my dogs, my daughter-in-law and I took the dogs for a quick walk. And a couple of the neighbors were out. They're showing their gardens in July. We have the local town that I live next to, they have a beautification committee. And every year you can tour different people's gardens. So they volunteered this year. So Shar was out working in hers, and Diane was telling me about the event. And we're having, I don't know about you or where you live, but we're having a terrible time with caterpillars this year. And you can hear them in the trees, and it's actually quite unnerving. It's a little scary. And they are making a mess. They're destroying the trees. I think I heard on in the news that they come around every so many years, and they haven't been here in many. But they've devoured an entire forest in the past. And living in the Adirondacks, we have absolutely beautiful trees, and it's tough to see them eat the trees and damage them. And they are devouring my pin oak. We have a very large pin oak. It's been in our center driveway circle for, I'd say, 25 years now. And it's gorgeous. It's huge. It's probably 25 feet, 30 feet tall, and they're just devouring the leaves. They're just making a mess of it. So I hope they don't kill it. I'm going to put this, actually, I'm going to bring this over here and get this glued on here. And hopefully it won't come through. I'll just have to see. That's why I layer a lot of my embroidery, so it's protected with another piece of material, but I didn't want to do that for this. So hopefully this will be good. And it doesn't look like it's going to bleed through, so that's what I'm really pleased about. All right, so we will let that dry. So there's the inside of the front cover, and that will go on like this. And then I still have the back cover, but the jury is out. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to put on the back here. So the next time you see this, I will have finished this here. I will have decided. I'll probably go with this, but I'm not sure. And then all of the signatures will be in the book. And then we can I'll start filling. But again, I want to make sure that all my sewing on these pages are done before I get it all bound in and bound together. But I really like this page right here. So there you go. Thanks for joining in. I hope this inspired you, gave you something to think about that you can do in your book. And until we meet again, I will continue to work on this, and we will just work on it and finish it up. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.